What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today let's talk about combos once again. So combos are the first thing someone from the outside can look at and be like, oh, that takes skill. Combos. Hardcore fighting game players usually point to how combos get easier on release of new games as one of the many ways fighting games are becoming easier, more noob friendly, more accessible, whatever way you want to describe this. Combos themselves, they're a product of an accident, honestly, from Street Fighter 2. These things got crazier and crazier until around like 2009 when Street Fighter 4 dropped. To my knowledge anyway, Street Fighter 4 is probably the first major example of developers doing something to make execution in fighting games easier, but many games have such mechanics. So this game, BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, had a lot of just silly mechanics. For this video, the most important one is about something called advanced input. So what this is you can hold a button, and when you press the button, it will repeat your input for a total of 5 frames. Depending on what type of person you are, this may or may not sound like a long time. If you're a fighting game player, you are like, wow, this is actually crazy. I sort of think there's 2 reasons for this, not just for combos to be easier, but also this game had online play, and it made the online play way more tolerable. I'm not going to do the whole combo, but this is an example of a combo part that uses this technique quite a bit. So again, because you have a wider window to input stuff, it makes things just easier to connect, and people actually long term could go for harder combos as a result of advanced input, funnily enough. If you haven't played this game, you probably haven't seen this for a while, but this is our famous 6C loop, which was only really heavily used in this version. So really the key to doing it is to hold the throw button, because their 6C is cancelable into throw. So the way you would do it is you would do 6C and you would hold throw and repeat. So one more time. So if this still doesn't seem like it has a big impact, let's compare it to another game that people like to play. So for comparison, this is the beginning of a combo I was learning for a challenge with ACR Eno. This character, you can link this into an air dash if you launch them first. So you would do this and an air dash. The difference is, in this game, there is neither an input buffer nor is there an advanced input technique, where in BlazBlue, I can hold the button and have much higher chance of finishing the combo. If I try it, this is going to be just totally first try. Let's just see if I got it or not. Not a pro gamer, can't even do an instant air dash, which is supposed to be a beginner technique. Mostly because just the execution requirement to do it is just much more restrictive, much tighter. And like I mentioned before, thanks to advanced input, people actually pushed the combo system really far and would go for really hard combos actually. You could try to really optimize your combos as much as you can. So the next big jump comes from Persona 4 Arena. So this is 2012 now. So this is the first game that introduced the auto combos. So if you play Dragon Ball FighterZ, you are familiar with this. This is a mechanic where you can hit one button, usually the light button, the A button, whatever it's called, and it will do a combo for you. So personally, I found the advanced input to be met with a kind of quiet resistance, where auto combos, people were actually losing their mind over this mechanic. The truth is though, in my opinion, this mechanic had less of an impact on the combo system than advanced input did. However, it still had a big part in strategy. So like I mentioned, because of advanced input, people got to be more ambitious with the type of combos they went for. Where auto combos had a couple of unique things. So it wasn't, again, a big part of the game, but it was something you definitely have to think about if you're playing the game for real. So one is it added extra normals. So another funny thing, this is of course a side note, but when BlazBlue came out, BlazBlue was a 4-button game, and Persona is also a 4-button game. Games like Street Fighter is 6 buttons, Guilty Gear is like 5 buttons. So one complaint people had when the game came out, when these games came out, I should say, is that, oh, there are not enough buttons in the game. But you have plenty of moves to work with, and auto combos actually locked certain moves behind your jab, similar to like a target combo in Street Fighter. So for example, this normal, Yukari's AA, she does not have it anywhere else. The only way you have access to this normal is if you do this first jab. Not here, nor here, nor here, nor here, nor here. You have to do this. This just made it so the character had straight up more moves, more ways to confirm, more ways to pressure, locked behind a restriction though. You might be like, well, it sucks that these moves are locked behind your jab, but other fighting games have this too. So for example, proximity normals, which many people either like them or strongly dislike them because you have to be a certain distance for the moves to activate. Another benefit of the auto combo is that you get a small amount of meter and a little bit extra burst for doing it. So there are times where you want to implement them in your combos. In Ultimax, it really helps out shadow characters. So for example, I'm going to burst real quick with Yukari, and I'm going to do 2 combos. So I'm going to do her auto combo, which is just this. And I'm going to do just a nice little short little string. So here I'm going to burst right away. You notice that my burst icon just really jumped really high on the last hit. That's the auto combo bonus that you get for a burst. As opposed to me doing any other something like that, I'm not really going to get the bonus. It's only really going to come up if I do the entire auto combo. Now, the second big change this game added was to the inputs. So motion inputs are another thing that people who are new to the genre and who are experienced in the genre like to talk about, and honestly it's its own topic. But compared to many fighting games, including other Arc System Works games, outside of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Persona 4 Arena has very simple input motions. Basically every character, all their moves are just quarter circles. Supers are double quarter circles. Here's her instant kill, it's down, down, down. Where Margaret, everything is either down, 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 or quarter circles. This applies to basically every character. Every character has a reversal in this game, but it's done with 2 attack buttons, rather than the traditional forward, down, down, forward that you'd see from a Shoryuken. The reversals being buttons also affect the strategy because you don't have that part of the game of they have to input it the right way so you could attack it. But this game also had some pretty unique reversals like the DP that you could tech. So what ended up happening is the simplicity of the motion inputs didn't really affect the game really. The one that had the biggest impact for sure was the B plus D. The button reversal had a big impact. But unlike many Arc Sys games that were pretty committal, you couldn't cancel them or anything, and strategy got built around this as well. Auto combos themselves, the main thing was about how they built you extra meter and how they build you extra burst. And when do you want to do that? So, next we have Guilty Gear Xrd. Besides the dramatic graphical update from Guilty Gear XX, this game is a sequel to XX, but it has a lot in common with XX as well, and they don't really do anything as dramatic as auto combos or advanced input in Guilty Gear Xrd to make combos easier. Really, they only do 2 things. The first one is that since the game uses the same combo system as XX, they open up the input buffer a little bit, which means you can preemptively input stuff a little bit easier. So they only do it a pinch, but a little goes a long way since it's a legacy game. So, circling back to the combo I tried way earlier, Xrd Ino does have the same Gatling, so she has the same way to set up the same exact thing that I tried to do before, right? So this same thing, launcher, into a linked instant air dash JK. The difference is, there's a buffer in this game. So, I could do this all day. It is much easier. Remember, the previous time, I couldn't even get the air dash. Where now, I can basically, maybe I'll miss it every now and then, but my success rate is way higher. The other major change they did is they just made it easier to hit characters. Specifically, they made characters' hurt boxes much easier to hit in Xrd over time, by the way, because it was not like that at the beginning. So one of the characters I think got hit by this the hardest is actually Venom. So when Xrd came out, Venom was pretty hard for Milia to combo, and I can't speak for other characters, but definitely at least for my character, he was pretty hard to combo, and it felt like each update, he got easier and easier to combo. What people would say in the past, and I do actually agree with this, is that him being hard to combo was like part of his defense. So he doesn't really have a reversal, he's okay at mashing, but like he's not like the best at like mashing out of pressure, really. Not until you get kind of far and you can start using this. But the fact that he was hard to combo made it so that it was just hard to follow up stuff on him when you hit him, which was a small benefit to him. So this change, while it definitely made it easier to combo, definitely hurt the characters who don't have like traditionally good defense, but they were like, well, my hurt box is annoying for people to combo, so like it's okay. So for example though, there are some things that work on many characters that don't work on Venom. All these type of launchers. However, her standard combos became way more reliable on him over time. But outside of these two minor things, even though it does affect the game a lot, I'd want to say compared to things like advanced input or auto combos, it was not as dramatic, nor was it really received in a crazy way by all fighting game players. GBVS comes next, and this is like the first mainstream Arc System Works game. This game actually shares a lot with Persona 4 Arena, understandable too since they're both based on existing licenses, right? As a reminder, as far as combos, it does the same thing as Persona as well. So they're both auto combos and simplified inputs. So Dragon Ball is the same type of thing. It's not the same exact type of auto combo. You don't do a super automatically. You just launch into like not even like a good knockdown, but auto combos have some of the same benefits as Persona. So for example, normals that are locked behind the initial move. This dynamic state where they bounce off the wall too has some combo benefits for some characters as well. They won't necessarily have the same type of routing unless you do it exactly like that. And in this game, you could do auto combos on whiff, which people basically hate. People basically hate. I'm there with them, but that's the game we play, right? Similarly to Persona, the move list is also basically all quarter circles. There's a couple of exceptions. There are characters that have like down, for example, but for the most part, everything is a quarter circle. So once you learn one input, you can basically do anything. And unlike Persona, there's no double quarter circles. Even supers are done with quarter circles. Over time, the combos became more complex, mostly because the developers added either new hit states or new properties on moves, more hit stun on assists, just more so that people could do more stuff. But as far as making combos easier, they're just reusing previous strategies from old games. So next up we have GBVS Fantasy Versus. So outside of its very unfortunate release date, I was originally going to skip over this game, but this game does one really important thing. So this game actually does have a bunch of traditional fighting game inputs, right? So like Shoryuken is still DP, for example. You have double quarter circle to do your supers. The combo system itself is very reminiscent of Street Fighter and games like that, where you do a lot of like single hit confirming. But the biggest thing I think about this game is about the easy special moves and how you manage them. So in the top left corner or right corner, depending on what player you are, you have these icons. And these are special move icons. So if I was to do my Dragon Punch with a normal button, you'll see that it just flashes black for a second and then fills up right away. But if I was to do it with the easy input, there is a cooldown, a long cooldown. So this easy input is reminiscent of, say, for example, the Persona reversals that are also on a button. And they are very strong, to the point that they had to nerf the cooldowns in later versions of the game. But the cooldowns did play into strategy quite a bit. So for example, one with my old waifu Catalina here, she had this move which was in the original version of the game, like one of the best pokes in the game. And you could hit confirm it into this. But doing the actual quarter circle, while possible, I don't want to say it was difficult, but it wasn't easy. But if you use the simple input instead, it became much easier. You didn't even have to move the lever or pad at all. If you were poking like this with down back, all you had to do is press the easy special move button and you would get it. This game also had an auto combo system similar to Persona and Dragon Ball. However, one, it was on every button, so your follow-ups are the same, but they happen from every button. And two is proximity based, so it's not like Dragon Ball where you can like mash on whiff and then get the auto combo. For sure, the most important one are the easy special moves. And this debate about motion inputs in general, as I said before, has been going back and forth for a long time. So then finally, we come to the current game, Strive. So input-wise, I definitely feel like it's a compromise between like Persona's simpler motion inputs and then like BlazBlue and traditional Guilty Gear. But there is a huge change of combos in this game, which is what happens to an opponent that is airborne. So specifically, you cannot flip out of the air during a combo. You just fall no matter what the height is. So traditionally in other games, all attacks when hit airborne have a certain amount of time before the opponent falls out. We call this air teching. So what are the pros and cons of this new combo system? Because this is pretty much the first time they've used this in one of their main games. So one, your combo misses mean a lot less. So with this recording here, I, as Baiken, don't recover until I hit the ground. So if I mess up as Soul, I can still recover the mistake and push my offense. Two, new strategies open up around offense and reading the opponent in specific ways. The biggest one is definitely around bursting. So for a simple example here, I'm gonna have Soul do this little baby combo. So specifically here, he can bait the burst here with very little risk, because even though he's ending his combo here, he's always going to get the knockdown so he can continue his offense. In another Arc Sys game, after that launch, I'd be able to flip out in the air and counterattack, run away, or something else. So this is a new strategy for this game. And finally, hits can be converted in ways that might not otherwise be possible in other fighting games like this. So here I have Soul doing a super jump. I'm going to use this move, Yozan-san, and I can link out of it. In older Guilty Gear games, this move basically has no hit stun, very little hit stun. So normally she needs meter to be able to convert out of it, but since you just fall no matter what, kind of like a juggle, it becomes really easy to convert this in situations like this. Is it a rare situation? Of course, but it's one we can use to just show the juggle system. Downsides though, so one, this system definitely lends itself to infinites. If you haven't been playing this game the whole time, both in the beta and like really early in Stride's release, there were a couple of infinites floating around because of this system. These got found quickly and fixed quickly though. Some characters are really good against burst and it's not distributed evenly. So here, because she's doing an up roaming cancel, I'm smoked. If I wait for the next hit, I'll do my best, but I'm too high. I'll try to delay just a pinch, and maybe I got a chance. I do not. So let's wait until we get hit by the close slash, and then she goes under it. In this version of the game, they made it so bursts don't go as high, so you have a chance of surviving, but some characters are really good at this. It doesn't have to straight up be distributed evenly across the entire cast, but some characters benefit off this way more than others. And then the last one, which I think is the main reason why some people would not like this system, is there's not a lot of like scrambly fast resets due to drops. So I will say it is definitely a skill to be able to recognize that your opponent missed a combo. However, the game lets you get out of the combo, whether it's mashing or holding a button or whatever, and fighting your way through that or escaping or countering. Since combos don't drop in the normal way, you don't need that awareness like in other games. So in this case here, like technically this is Mei dropping, but she still sort of has an advantage. She did a normal, she should be charging, so she could do like meaty, dolphin, like H dolphin for example, and have advantage. Even though it looks like she messed up, she didn't really, because I'm getting knocked down no matter what. This system though is the first big change they've made to combos for a while, but for this game it makes sense. For other games I don't think so. You definitely have to carefully design your game around a system like this because of what could happen. But yeah, this is basically everything they've actually done to make combos easier over time in games that I've competed in. So let me know your thoughts. I kind of am just whatever they do, they do. Personally, I think combos, of course, are a great way of expressing mechanical skill. But as far as like the overall strategy and what it takes to win, I think that's usually my disconnect with other people, is that like I'm just trying to plan out how do I go from like point A to point B? How do I go from the start of the round to seeing my character standing over your character's lifeless body? That's all I'm trying to do. So if I just do baby combos and it works, cool. If I have to go for this really tricky combo, cool. One combo that people really like that I do in this version is this gun combo that Baiken has, where she can extend and keep going. It's a very flashy combo, but to be honest, I don't do it because it's a cool combo. I do it because it does way too much damage, and it's sometimes the absolute best combo I could do with not a high execution requirement. But some people want to go for the hardest stuff all the time. Talking about combos and how they affect the game is very important, but I'm not really so concerned with how they make combos easier, because every game eventually the combo monsters come up with some crazy thing or some new link. They just push the system for what it is. I think there's way more important things we could be talking about for how they actually make fighting games easier. But again, let me know what you guys think though. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.